Now, when you guys went to Portland eventually, what was that territory like, Portland?
It was excellent. It was actually possibly the best, most learning territory we've ever been. At the time we went to Oregon, we'd already. Now we're experienced. Now we're used to not in the States. We've never been in the States except for Hawaii.
Right.
But we're used to the American style of wrestling. Hence the Montreal, hence the Calgary, and now we're into the thing. We're comfortable on the mic and everything else. And then we arrived there, and what a tag team territory it was.
We're sitting in Hawaii. It was sitting in Hawaii,
just starving. And the stars in that territory. The stars then were Playboy Buddy Rose, Rick Martel, Ed Wisconsin,
Piper,
Roddy Piper, what's the Snooker had just left? Snooker had just left, and
Adrian Adonis.
Adrian Adonis. the first night we were there, we took the belts from Adrian Adonis and
Ron Starr,
and we had a tremendous 15 months there, and Don didn't want us to leave when we left, and they had the best summer they've ever had, and then they turned us good guys the last 4 or 5 months we were there against Rose and Ed Wisconsin, and then the Rip Rogers was just starting there, and it was just great, and it was the best. The wrestlers had the best attitude that I've ever been in any territory in my life, because what you would do, you would every week you'd run Oregon, and actually we worked for 100 odd days in a row, then we'd have 1 day off, then we worked 100 straight days again, or 120 or something. It was amazing, really. It was amazing we could do it.
We had a good crew there, mate, and that makes a lot. You have a good crew.
Unbelievable. And we would go up and down the card. You'd take your turn. That's what I was going to say.
That's why I was Ventura. He'd come in. The Giant would come in with it and that. So they brought other people in all the time just for the big weekends and that. So we had a good crew.
And you would build your way up the card. Everyone would help the guys make for the main event, then it would go down, someone else would take a turn.
Right.
And so everyone was helping everybody, so the attitude was tremendous.
What are your memories of your feud with Roddy Piper and Rick Martel?
Oh, they were great. Roddy Piper was, as you know, he was great. He was great then on the mic, and Rick was a great worker. So and everyone could work in that territory at that stage. So that's why it was so good. And everyone with that good attitude, that good business attitude, and that there was
$5 attitude money,
right. There wasn't very many injuries. And yet it was pretty brutal and it was wild and everything else, because guys knew what they were doing. They weren't, and there were stories getting told all the time. Yeah. Really good stories.
That was one of the best small territories we've ever been in. You know? For talent-wise.
Right.
Very much.
Very much so.
You guys did those great promos with the beer bottles where you broke them over your head.
Yeah, tell me about it.
That's good stuff.
Another one we missed out before that too, mate. I'm just going to say, when we came back to Calgary that time, Dynamite Kid, he was our tag partner. We did a whole feud for 6 weeks with the Hart family, Dynamite, Butch, and me against the Hart family. We kept Brett in the ring all the time because the rest of them.
And Brett had only been working 6 months, but he could work better than the rest of the Harts.
What was he like when he first started out in the business? Yeah,
great. A fantastic attitude, and he had a really good attitude. He would listen and do things, and very easy to work with. His other brothers, forget about it.
Right. Yeah, what about Dynamite?
Excellent. We when we first this was when we came back to Calgary, and we had 6 weeks to spare before a Japanese tour, and we were stuck in Hawaii.
Right.
And we rang Stu, come on in, and when Dynamite Kid was very small then, very small.
And he was
and
Marty Jones.
Right, and Marty Jones. And he was the main event this night, because we'd only given 3 days notice to come in, and he was the main event this first night in Calgary against Bruce Hart in a cage. And so we see the size of Dynamite. We've never seen a guy that small as a main event. But we didn't see, we said, oh, well, so I've got to go and see it, right?
Right.
And in those days, they weren't pushing small guys as a main event. And we couldn't believe it. Here he was taking these unbelievable bumps off the cage.
Right.
There's no wonder the poor guy's body ended up like it was. A brilliant performer.
When we left there, the guys on top were Archie Goldie, the Stomper, Abdullah. It was all 260 plus, everyone was 260 plus. Yeah. And then we came back and saw that. We couldn't believe places were full everywhere because they were seeing a new kind of high flying stuff. And he was doing it. Dynamite was flying.
And the poor guy now, the tour we just had of England, he's in a wheelchair.
Right.
Just written a book. Have you?
Yeah, we got the book.
Yeah. But he's in a wheelchair now, which is a shame. We did talk to him on the phone. Didn't get a chance to see him.
Now you guys went to Japan too, right?
Yeah.
What promotion was that?
We've worked for Barber. We worked for Inoki.
Right.
And before there was another promotion there too, which was owned by Barber called Capital.
Right.
You know, it was a minor company. It was a spin-off, you know, that Barber was guys. And
I was the first ever original Tiger Mask.
Really?
Yeah, for Inoki on a second tour.
I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
There you go.
And I was so green, I didn't even know that it was what a great opportunity this was. And he tells me to ring him back, and I hadn't been away for 6 weeks before from New Zealand, so of course I didn't go. I didn't ring, and you know,
So,
they changed it.
no,
But I wasn't the high
Sam,
flyer
Sam.
thing. But you know, it was
Wow.
good.
now, after Portland Wrestling, where did you guys go to? Was it Southwest Championship Wrestling?
No, the next day we
no,
got a good break
Crockett.
there. We went down to Crockett, and we didn't know the power of the TV. We didn't know the power of the NWA office in the country. See, we'd been stuck in Hawaii and up in north there, and in the northwest, you don't see any other TV. TBS wasn't getting up there then. Now, when you buy the cable package, you get TBS. It's all on, and every package all over every local cheapest package, you get TBS or TNT, right?
Right.
And then it wasn't getting out that way, and we didn't know the power. So when we moved down there, came into there and that, and they put the pacifying belts on us the first week there, called the Mid Atlantic.
Mid-Atlantic.
And they had the World Championships, which was Ray Stevens and Jimmy Snooker, and that.
I remember that.
Yeah, and we were the Atlantic champ. We didn't know the power of that television out of that place because we hadn't been around the country. And that was going on everywhere then, you know. And as it went on, you know, we used to do the taping every week. We used to do one taping in Raleigh every week, and then that was the Mid Atlantic tape. Then we used to do the worldwide tape out of Turner Studio every Saturday morning. Had to get there to Turner and that and do that. Remember the TBS used to be live at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Or 9:30.
6:05 to 8:05.
Right.
Yeah, they had two showings that day out of TBS early morning.
Right.
I think it was a half an hour delay on that. We used to start taping at 8:30, and that'd be on at 9, and then 9 to 11 or something Saturday morning, and then they had the late. Then they had 6 to 8 or 6 to 8 and that. We didn't realize then the power of it and that. And they were giving us a push. There was a lot of guys in that territory at the time. They were doing 2 or 3 towns.
And while we had the belts, we gave our notice. So we'd only been there like 12, 16 weeks, but we weren't used to doing the mileage that they were doing. You know, we'd come from Oregon and we'd done a lot of work, like as I said, 100 odd days in a row, then a day off, but not the mileage that they were doing there. And Lou didn't like the road for mileage and stuff. And we didn't, as he said, we didn't understand it. And we've made a couple of mistakes, statistics-wise, making the wrong move. That was one. We decided we decided to go to Puerto Rico.
You should have stayed there, you think?
Yeah,
well, to keep the coverage, and the coverage was great. There was only three territories in the country that was getting the coverage. There was the Crockett's, there was the WWF, and the AWA. So we didn't know you had to be in one of those powers.
One of the big ones.
Yeah, right.
And we got offered to go the other one too.
Yeah.
We got offered to go to AWA and that, to come up there and work there. And we got one of our friends was working at Puerto Rico 3 times a week and making as much money as we were there. But when we got to Puerto Rico, it was starting to slide. They weren't making that big money. The promoter was starting to cut the guys down on the money and that. So we went to Puerto Rico, which was one of our major mistakes in this business.
Yeah.
Because then Crockett, we gave Crockett our notice. And Crockett, you know, you heard of Jimmy Crockett, right?
Right.
He didn't like you giving him the notice, and we suffered because Dusty used to come down to Puerto Rico and all the time and say, I'd like to get you back there. And Jimmy Crockett, I'd ring him up and that. He said, never brought us in. And he made us suffer about 6 years before we got back in the NWA.
George Steele was the booker. He was very good to us. So they liked us there, but we just made the wrong mistake. There was